Heyo, my tabletop sports friends. This is Bob Hansen coming to you from the Sportsville plots with another special video. This is part 2, follow-up video for the card design video I did just before to talk about the layout of these Hockey Blast cards and what we're going to do. So now today we're going to actually go through the process of making those Hockey Blast cards. So I have Microsoft Visio open up here. We're going to go in here. First things we're going to do a couple things. First of all, we're going to change the design theme because this one is a really weird design theme. This is probably something you might not have to deal with. If you're using Publisher, by the way, you are going to have to deal with this. Find some kind of a neutral theme that they have in there. Any other tool, you should be good to go. All right. The other thing is I'm going to turn on the grid. So now I have a grid to work with. If you have a tool that works with a grid, that's also good. Helps you lay out things really well. Okay, so the second thing is we talked about card size. So we want to figure out what the ideal card size is for this. So in this example, what I'm going to do is we're going to drag a rectangle out here. And we're going to figure out what optimal card size is. So now I'm going to cheat because I actually figured this out already. The way I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to change this. So normally, every time I've done cards for any game, I always do them in landscape mode, okay? And I get all of them figured out. Last hockey cards you just saw, those were done in landscape mode. We're not going to do that this time. No landscape mode. I'm actually going to change this up. We're going to use instead portrait mode. We're going to go back to design. We're going to go to orientation. We're going to say portrait. Okay. Like I said, I cheated. I already figured this out ahead of time. I kind of figured out a lot of this stuff ahead of time already just so I'd be prepared for this video and I'm not fumbling around and making mistakes like I normally do. This process usually takes me longer just because of the fact I'm always doing some trial and error and everything and all that. So usually the first thing I'll do is I'll check out the vertical distance first. Or the horizontal distance, sorry, first. And then I'll check out the vertical distance. So I think, okay, so let's try 1.5 inches first. So I'm just going to copy, paste, and we just move next to each other. I know you can do this a math way too. Just say, hey, you dummy, just get a goddamn calculator out and figure it out yourself. Yeah, I know. That's probably the easy way to do this, but I'm lazy. So it looks like I can add another square on each of these, so I will do that. Like, okay. Make it just a little bit bigger. Just like those, if you ever seen you may not be old enough to remember this. A lot of my viewers probably are. There was a show called Sanford and Son, and he always say, "You big dummy." That's pretty much what I'm thinking right here. Okay, so we got a good distance here. I'm not going to worry about these last 3 squares here. I could center this up if I wanted to. I'm not going to. So the margin's going to be a little bit bigger, but that's fine. We can deal with that. And we're going to make it some distance long. So let's try about 2 inches for right now. Let's see what happens with that. So 2 inches. And I can tell you right now that this is probably going to work, doing the math in my head as I do this. And knowing the margins I have set here, this should work. Okay, well I lied. We're going to get a little bit more than that. Get 1 more square out of it. And again, I think it comes up a bit short on that side too, but that's fine. You don't always have to fill up the margins all the way, especially if you're dealing with weird portrait size crap. You may not. The important thing is for this, I can fit 5 by 5. That's going to give me 25 cards per sheet. Okay, yeah, I got 3 again at the bottom. I could drop this resolution a bit more, get a little bit more finite, make the cards a little bit bigger. Anyway, let's do that, actually. See how this is a give and take process here? This is exactly how this all works. A little bit of trial and error here. You're going to see a little bit of it today. I'm hoping this doesn't take too long. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger in each direction, and we'll copy and paste this across. Of course, now it's going to be difficult because it's using half squares, and these things don't always line up right way, and it's kind of finicky. Yeah, that's almost exact. So it should be pretty much close to exact on the other side as well, I'm thinking. But anywho, you kind of get the idea. And we're good. I think we're good here, so. Yeah, it's going to stick on this one in the bottom, and I have to kind of nudge it in there. There we go. So this is good. 5 by 5. We got our card size. This is our card size right here. All right. So now we have our card size. This is our template. So first things first, we want to give this an outline. So the outline, the card outline is not good right now as it is because it's too dark. If you look at my cards that I had last time that I showed you, you didn't see any cut lines on it because I lightened them to the point where if I did cut badly, you're not going to notice them as much. And so what I do is I just give this a little bit of a gray outline. So up here, there's like a line dialog, and any program you're going to use is going to have something like this, where it's going to allow you to change like the fill color and the line color and the text color. And this is an example of that. So I'm going to make it somewhat dark. Actually, you know what? We're going to make it just a little bit lighter. There we go. So that's it. So we have a line color. This is dark enough to see and to be printed out. Actually, when it prints out, it's going to be lighter than what you see right here on the screen, but you should be fine with that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set the transparency on this, and this is important for what I'm going to do, for an important thing I'm going to do. All right, so for here, you have to actually go into Format, Shape, oops, go into Fill. I'm going to set the transparency to about 17%. So you can kind of see now that behind there, you can kind of see some of the grid lines. It's kind of crazy. Got like the grid lines in there. All right, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to grab one of my hockey players from my previous card sets. And you're all like, oh, you're not doing anything right now. I don't see anything. Yeah, it's because you'd see that. Actually, you might have seen that. I don't know. Be interesting to see how the video comes out. I'm using a different video recording technology than I do for my other videos. So, all right. So you see this nice little silhouette here that I've got. Silhouette. Yes. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to widen this out just a little bit more. Nice thing about these silhouette type things, you can stretch them out a little bit. They still look fine. And I got it centered. And then I'm going to do something called send to back. Bam. Look at that. Lighten them up a bunch. I can put stuff on top of here now, and it's still going to be kind of there in the background. When they print out, as you saw, they're pretty light when they get printed out. Okay. Cool. So we got through that. Alrighty then. So now the fun part. We're going to design the headers. So as you saw in those other cards, we had a header on there, which is really kind of nifty. And we're going to make sure that we have a margin in here. And what I'm going to do, as you can see, I got to kind of set some kind of a distance here, how big the headers are going to be. I don't want them to be too huge, but I also don't want them to be too small either. And I've got kind of a set margin here. Actually, I'm going to move these in just a bit. Hang on a second before we do this. I want to get this on an actual line here, so they can work off of that line. There we go. Perfect. So as you can see, oh yeah, at the bottom here. We're gonna move this up just a bit, just a scotch. There we go. All right. So now I can go. All right, we go over one, and I may have to dial this in with the arrow keys a little bit. There we go. All right. So here we go. I'm going to stretch this triangle out a bit. You're like, why are you doing this? This looks totally crazy. There's a reason to my madness. So I've got this huge triangle here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another shape, any shape, doesn't matter. I'm going to nudge this over a bit. All right. I'm actually going to nudge it back a bit. About there. No, that's not happening. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure I cover up the rest of this image, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to subtract. Bam. There's my little weird shape at the bottom there. Okay. I actually cinch that up just a little bit, and there we go. There's my bottom. Okay. Okay. So for this, actually, I want these to go the other way. So I'm going to flip this. There we go. Do I want that flipped that way? Yes, I do. Okay. So then I'm going to copy this and paste it. I'm just going to go rotate. Dunk. There we go. Rotate it on the other side, and bam, we got ourselves some headers. Okay. And this is too big now, so we're going to probably draw this down a little bit in size and recenter it. Alright, make sure that all fits in there, looks pretty. Maybe move this up just a scotch. Yeah, we'll probably resize him a few times as we go through this, but okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add little circles here. And you're like, why are you adding these circles? This looks crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. But trust me, this is going to be so cool when you see this. Alright. I still want to get that a little bit bigger. I'm going to go down to super detail. Usually when I work in the super detail world here, I can get things kind of exact. Get my margin set properly and everything. Make everything all happy. There we go. Like, okay, why is this circle in there? That looks silly. Yeah, it does look kind of silly right now. And a lot of this is going to look really silly in the beginning. You're like, why are you doing this? Okay. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to drag out another text box. And or another box. I call this a text box because this is the purpose I'm using this for. Most of the time you're not going to, you're going to use some kind of a text tool or something like that or whatever. It will work either way. So this is, I want to do the team name. And this is where we're going to start talking about fonts that you're going to use for this. So for fonts for this, here's a couple guidelines I like to do. When I'm designing cards for sports games, specifically play games, I like to use condensed fonts. What I mean by condensed font is that the font itself is squished together. Okay? So the letters are taller, they're narrower, and that allows you to type more stuff in the same space that you would in a normal font. Okay? The other thing I like to do is I like to use bold fonts for most of my cards so that you can read stuff. The other thing with these is I like to use small caps. That's just my preference. You don't have to do that. I actually was looking at possibly doing a baseball card set for History Maker Baseball for next season in my Baseball America series I'm doing. I was already starting to look at maybe what I want to do for next season, and I was thinking about actually doing all my stuff in lowercase characters. It was kind of cool. It actually looked kind of neat. I haven't thrown away that concept yet, but anyways. So here we go. So I always take the longest team name, and I actually am renaming one of my teams in my league. They were called the Niagara Barrel Jumpers, I mean. In homage to the people who go and ride the barrels down the Niagara Falls. And I'm like, you know what? The name of the city is Niagara. It's on the Canadian side of the falls. Let's just name it the team the Niagara Falls Barrel Jumpers. I think that would make a lot more sense. And so Niagara Falls is going to be my longest name, both for my city name and for my team name. So kind of cool that it worked out that way. So we're going to pick out a nice condensed semi-bold font. We're going to try out this Bond Schrift semi-bold here. So a lot of the fonts I get, great place to get fonts, go out to Google. Google has their own repository of free fonts you can get. There are a ton of them. Go out there and just start looking at them. I love sans serif fonts. I love fonts that have condensed or lots of family options. So if you look at this Bond Schrift, I have like on top of Bond Schrift condensed medium or semi-bold or whatever, I have Bond Schrift semi-bold, I have Bond Schrift light, Bond Schrift condensed, Bond Schrift itself. All these different Bond Schrift options here. So it's kind of a font family, and I can take that same font, that same look, apply it to the same card, but vary things up as far as how condensed it is, how heavy it is, all that kind of stuff. It's really kind of a cool way to get everything done in one card. So I'm going to just use that Bond Schrift semi, and we're going to type in Niagara Falls. And I got to spell this right. All right. The other thing is I want to ensure that I change the alignment on that, and then I want to start making it bigger until I run out of room here, essentially. Okay, ran out of room. Yeah, it's probably still going to be too big. So, 16 it is. Okay, here we go. So this looks kind of silly right now. You're looking at it like, well, you know what would be really cool is if you actually canted that to the same angle as your header. And you're right. That's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to angle this. So we're going to rotate this. And there's, you can actually use the rotation handles, but the problem with the rotation handles is it does it in a very, like 15-degree type of thing here. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to set this manually until I get something that matches. Oops. I don't know what I just did. There we go. Actually, go 4, I think. All right. So if I go 4, I start lining this up here. You can see that pretty much. Maybe go 4.25. Yep, that's good. Right there. 4.25. That's our number right there. Bammo. Look at that. Okay. And I'm figuring that Niagara Falls is our biggest one. We can actually jack this up to 16. Actually, let's try 16 once and see how far that allows us to go there. Let's go 16 with that, actually. That looks a little bit better. So we got this lined up. It looks cool and everything. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the line here. Actually, no, you know what? First, before we do that, I'm going to copy this. Copy. And I'm going to paste it down here. We're going to do the exact same thing down here before we move on. We got our angles set here. We're really good set on the angles here. I just want to get the rest of it there. So, all right. Yeah, this one's going to be longer, kind of uglier. Yeah, we may have to drop down to a 14 on this side. And that's fine. All right. And I'm going to make a slight adjustment. If you use Visio, you can actually change the text box size, but not the actual size of the actual box that you're using, this bounding box here. So there we go. All right, and again, we want to make sure that this kind of lines up somewhat off of there. I want that spacing to be about the same. I'm actually going to change this bounding box a bit here too, so that this is okay, and I can resize this a bit. So I get rid of that bounding box down. There we go. I just don't want it on top of whatever I'm going to do, even though it's going to be transparent when I get done with this. There we go. All right. So we got those. those are all set up. We're good to go with those. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this. So I'm going to use that same font, but we're going to go, instead of the semi-bold condensed, we're just going to do semi-bold. We're going to do a position, okay? And again, we're going to cant this slightly at 4.25. All right, we're going to increase this font size, and we want to do, yes, because these don't line up right, so I'm going to actually, come on, really? There we go. Just want to get this lined up so that it's somewhat centered. Looks pretty, and I have to redo this for every single position I have out there. We'll talk about this more in the next video I do. Today we're just going to get the basic template on this. In this video, we're just going to get the basic template in there, looking good. All right, down here we're going to do the exact same thing. Let's cant it right now. Whoa, no, 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 no. Helps to use the right box. All right, we're going to use the font shrift semi-bold, and let's monkey with that a little bit. This one I'm actually going to do condensed. There we go. Oh, I can make it a bit bigger. There we go. So you're like, why are you putting a number in there? And the reason I'm putting a number in there is I'm going to put a jersey number in there. So I'm going to have a jersey number and a position on the card already. Okay? Really cool. Little start here. Okay. So you're like, okay, well, I got all these lines and stuff here. Yeah, this is kind of ugly right now, but it's going to get better, I promise you. All right, next thing we're going to do is the name. Actually, before we do the name, I'm going to do some delineation on this card. So if you look at a Hockey Blast card, it's going to have a few pieces of information on it. First of all, it's going to have shot. It's going to have an assist rating. It's going to have a name of the player. It's going to have speed, skill, power, smart, and all the little symbols that go with it. And it's going to have face-off, fight, injury, and penalty. I want to split all that up, but first of all, we're going to do shot and assist real quick before we move on. So one of the mistakes I made in some of my earlier designs is how I lined up the shot and assist. It didn't work out really well. We're going to fix that this time. So again, we're going to angle this. Okay, and we're just going to write in here shots, shot rating. Oops. Let's get out of the angle box before we start typing into something. That would be awesome. All right. So we're going to get in shot rating. And as you can see, this is huge right now. And we don't need it to be that big. I'm going to make it smaller. And I'll line this up with the... actually, it's the other way. There we go. You're like, that's huge. Yeah, it is. There we go. And it looks ugly right now. Yeah, it looks ugly, but you'll see my cards when they get done. They look pretty good when they're done. So, shut up, you, if you're complaining about this right now. Okay, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to do assist rating. Which, this already is more information than most cards. Now I'm going to cheat. Now, for the star ratings, I always use a font for these. They're part of the Wingding fonts, and I'll show you exactly what those are. But I'm going to cheat and just copy and paste them from other sets of cards I have. So we will copy them from here. Actually, we'll just copy the whole thing. All right. all set on this. Alright, angle looks good. Actually, with these, I think those could they could be a bit bigger, actually. We'll probably get away with that. We'll make these into a 12. Essentially, there's nobody in the league that's going to have more than 4 shot stars, so I think some of the other card sets there might be more than that, but yeah, let's make these black. I'll write it. Okay. And over here, we're just going to change the alignment the other way. All right. And I just want to make sure that they're a bit off of the main line there. I'm actually going to drop this down a bit more, so it's pretty even to that. I'm going to raise that up so that's about even with that. Here we go. Okay, cool. So you're like, oh man, this is just ugly. You got all these freaking lines and boxes and stuff on here. This just looks ugly. Yeah, that's going to end right now. So here we go. These boxes here, we are going to change them so that they have no fill and no line. And bam, doesn't look so ugly anymore, does it? You still have that line around the C. Well, we'll take care of that when the card gets colored in. Get off my back. All right, here we go. All right, so next we're going to do a couple delineation lines in here. So we're going to use the line tool. And we're going to have a line here. And I want to make sure that I'm following kind of the same size. So I'm actually going to go in here and resize half of this line here. So that's the same length as the header and footer of this. And I'm going to copy and paste this. Create a second one down here somewhere. We'll probably put it about here. Okay, so up here we're going to have our name. Here we're going to have the speed, skill, power, and all that, and the little shapes. And down here we're going to have the face-off, fight, injury, and penalty ratings. Okay, so we're going to start off with the name real quick. So a lot of times I do this one of two ways when I do names. The first way is I will have like a first name here, and then a last name down here that's bigger. And that allows me to take up the whole size of the card and everything and do that. I'm going to use condensed fonts on this, so I'm going to go with a different strategy. I'm actually going to go with one line. We're going to use condensed fonts. We're going to use that bound shrift, condensed, semi-bold. All right. And we're going to go in here, we're going to type in a name. And I know this set pretty well. And what the longest name in the entire set is one Daniel. Marchessault. Okay? Huge name. And you know what's funny about this is when I first got that set, I'm like, you know, that's a really weird name. Why would anybody have that name? How could you fit that on a hockey jersey? And I thought, well, this is a name that Keith just made up or something like that. I started watching some hockey this season with the Vegas team because I was like, wow, this Vegas team came out of nowhere. It's their first season, and they're in the playoffs, and they're like the best team in their division. And I just started watching them around the playoffs, and some guy out here named Marchessault out there. I'm like, holy crap, that's a real name. So yeah, he became my favorite player on the team after that because I'm like, I like this guy because I know his name. All right, so I'm going to raise the size of the last name. I'm also going to raise the size of this name as well. So we're coming up with some standards basically here, and I'm going to widen this a little bit. Yeah, I still don't get in there, but hang on a second here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this small caps. Now it fits. So you can see now the small caps in there. So now this is the longest name I have in the league. And I'm like, well, this is great. Most names in here aren't going to be Marcia so, okay? Most of them are going to be like Joseph Jackson or something like that. Actually, let's come up with one that's an actual name. We're going to do Anders Jorgensen here. Okay, so Anders, yeah, we'll raise this up to 16 instead. We'll raise this up to 14. Guess what? It's still going to fit. And it looks a little bit bigger. It's actually better. I'm actually going to move this down just a bit. You're like, oh my gosh, it looks ugly. You have lines all over the place. Please get rid of the lines. Well, okay, fine. We'll do that right now. So get rid of the lines. We're going to get rid of the fill. We do that. We can see back behind it. We can see our player silhouette behind it. Okay. We have Anders Jorgensen. That's our name that we're going to use now for every single card on our. That's our template name we're going to use. If the name's longer than that, we're going to have to obviously adjust the font for that one player. Going through this process, I've done this. Well, you saw how many iterations I've done this. I usually only have to change the font size about 2 or 3 times throughout the entire process. So that font size I have set right now should work for just about the entire set. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing that's going to take up room. Now I have the other thing that's going to take up room down here. Now let's do this next. And this I'm going to cheat a little bit because this takes forever to line this up, and I only have so much time to show you how to do this. So I'm going to copy and paste this from an existing one that we have. Actually, is there anybody in this set that has every single value? It's going to be a center. Yep, here we go. This guy here. All right. So we're cheating a little bit. We're going to put this in here, and we're going to set the fonts and stuff like that to something a little bit more fun, other than Oswald. We used Oswald in the last ones I did. Okay, so everything's Bontra, semi-condensed, whatever. We're going to adjust the size of this a little bit. Actually, these sizes are perfect, I think. I want to make these a little bit bigger. Make them 8. Let's get this better centered. You can see how this was originally created. And there we go. I'm going to drop this down just a little bit. I think we have just the perfect room here in the center for the rest of this. So, okay, we're good to go. Okay, and let's make this all black for now. Well, we'll worry about coloring in the next video in general. The other thing too here is we want to make sure that we set these to a default value that's going to make sense for pretty much all of the cards. Yeah. And I'll lower these just a little bit here. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so the rest of the card is this middle part here, and you're like, oh man, there's not enough room there. Oh no, oh no, no, no. Yeah, there's gonna be enough room. Trust me. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Okay. I'm gonna go in here. All right, the first one is speed. And again, we need to use our bond shrift. All right. And we're going to raise it up to about 12 is good, actually. That'll be perfect. There we go. And we're just going to do this now for the whole thing. We're going to just be like speed. Oops. Get these all lined up. Oh yeah, we got tons of room in here. We got lots of room. Actually, what I can do, I can do some distribution options. Visio is really cool because it's got these tools. Other tools have this as well, where you can do distribution and even things up and make it all look pretty, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. All right. And we're going to line this up on this side. Oops. Dang it. Here we go. These are going to go this way. All right, so we have speed, we have skill, we have power, we have hit. We have to make sure the big hit fits in there because that's one of the special abilities in the World Hockey Association cards or Hockey League cards. But it fits. But we're not going to put that in the template. And then smart and star. Cool. All right, let's drag these in a little bit too. So there's our abilities. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is our little. Actually, you know what? I'm wondering. I don't want to make these too big, but I think we can make them just a little bit bigger. Let's make them 13, actually. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Nice. Okay. And we're going to drag these down just a bit. The boxes may have been centered, but not the actual words. Now they are. Okay. So like, okay, that's great. Now we got to get the symbols in there. So we have the triangle symbol, which is usually upside down. So these, normally when Keith does these on the normal cards, I believe he uses a font for these as well. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather do these with shapes. Makes it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit more fun. I'm going to add a fill to this as black so that we can kind of just play around with it that way. I can make this a bit bigger. There we go. Make sure it's centered. And we'll leave it up there for right now. I don't really actually we'll leave it just a little bit of space there so it doesn't blend in with that, but it's going to get moved anyways. And we'll do a square. Oops. And you can see my sizing handles on the square. Watch this. Do you see how now it's the same size as the triangle? It knew that it was the same size as the triangle. It's like, yeah, okay. So we need a triangle, or we need a square. I'm going to fill that bad boy in. We need a circle. Oops. I need a second circle. So these are going to be in there pretty tight, jammed in there. Probably made them a little too big. I gotta get this out of there, otherwise it's going to be resizing hell. It still is. There we go. Had to resize it away from everything else. It's like, now we're going to take you over here and take you out to the woodshed. I like to make the triangle just a little bit bigger than everything else. Everything else can get a little bit smaller. Alright, then we got to do a star. So this is the one with the star in it. usually do no line on that. There you go. So the star, it's looking really cool. Problem with this is we always need to do a group on this. They always move together. This will make more sense later on when we actually do this, but for right now, I'm just gonna just trust me on this one. All right. Actually, we're not going to move that triangle at all, but we are going to do another one of these positions. Distribute vertically. You can hear all the cop cars out there, crazy. All right. And this video is getting kind of long. It's already 40 minutes, so we're going to wrap this up right now after this. Okay, so again, we're going to turn off the fill, no line. Bam, everything's all good. This is it. This is our base card right here. You're like, oh, okay, this looks kind of dumb still. Well, I haven't added any color to that. In the next video, I'm going to add some color to this. We're going to make it look all pretty. We're going to make it team specific. We're going to make a version of this card for wings, defensemen, and for goalies. We're going to make our goalie card as well based off of this one. And that'll be it for that video, and then we'll start going through some of the team colorizations for this. This is the base card, though. This is what it's going to be basically looking like for every single card. So yeah, this is it. This card looks so jammed together. You're like, oh my gosh, look at how tight those symbols are in together. That looks horrible. Yeah, it kind of does, but you know what? There's like 3 players in the entire set that have 4 symbols. That's it. Okay. So those are the only ones that are going to have jammed in there, and they look fine usually once they're in there. And most of the players are going to have 1 or 2 of those symbols, if any, and they're not going to have all these abilities either. So everything's all jammed in there. It looks, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Got so much stuff in there. It's not. Trust me, when we start actually making the players, you're going to see that all this stuff's going to disappear off of each player. This is our template that we're working off of, so don't panic. We're good to go with this. So this is it for this video. We'll wrap this up here. We're going to do another video coming up about, like I said, we're going to color this in with some base colors. We're going to create a card for each of the different positions, and then we're going to go through and make some team sets for these. And I'll make a few of them, and then I'm going to do a bunch of them off camera, and then I'll show you those, and then we'll do another video which will talk about actually putting a team together on a team page. But this is it for today, for this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this, please drop a like on there. If you like my videos and you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. If you haven't hit the notification bell to get notifications of all my videos, please hit that notification bell. Otherwise, that is it for tonight. Thank you and good night.